Hello YouTube and welcome back campaigners. Once again, I'm your host Cross. This is Campaign Terrain, and today I'm going to show you how our little guy gets up on top of the roof. I built a house, I built a wall, but he's got to have a way to get up there. So I had built him some stairs previously. Today, I'll walk you through making the second set. If you've been liking what I've been bringing to you, please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely share. I know you have been. My channel count, my subscriber count keeps going up, and I really appreciate that. New this week, I do finally have Patreon links down below, and I also have a buy me a coffee if you don't want to have the commitment, you just want to do it one time, down there as well. Starting next week, I'm going to have some Amazon links for you too. So I really appreciate you helping out the channel in any way you can. Like, share, subscribe financially, however you want to do it. And thanks for coming to Campaign Terrain, and I'll see you right after the bump. Super quick overview of what we're going to need for this one. Now it's a simple build. We're making these stairs that fit here beside the house. This piece of wall here is just to show you that what we're making is starts here at this edge of this, not all the way at the back, not like this, so we can make it fit right up to that opening. We're going to use the regular everyday dollar store foam core. You can use more expensive stuff if you want, though the more expensive stuff is harder to get the paper off of, and we want the paper off of for this. It just makes it easier to work with. You don't end up with a sharp edge on the stairs. If you want a sharp edge on the stairs, great, but that's not what I'm doing for the desert build. So foam core, basic foam core stuff. We're gonna need some bolts for some weight in a minute. That's gonna keep the stairs upright and not getting bumped over on the table. As you can see here, it's just a weight to keep those in place. You're going to need to know the measurement where you want the stairs to match up if you're doing it this way. So my measurement on those is 1.25 inches, I believe. Yep, 1.25 inches. Now you're going to need something to cut it with, obviously. Hobby knife, utility knife, whatever works for you. And you're going to need something to get this angle correct. So for that, I've got both a square I sometimes use, and I've got a protractor. So you're going to want to set that to... Nope, that's it. That's the overview. Let me jump ahead a little, get some of this cleared out of the way, then I'll show you how we're doing it. Okay, so to keep in mind that we want this to be 1.25 inches from the back flat wall to the front of the top step. That's going to be 1.25 inches. I'm also, just to make things simple, going to make it 1.25 inches wide. So all of the stairs are going to be 1.25 inches wide. Simple way to do that. Make sure you've got a straight edge. Then line it up with your grid on your table, or with a ruler or a square, or however you want to do that. And make sure that you've got these cut into 1.25 inches width. You want to keep a straight line on that. However you want to do that is fine. You can use a square like this. You can use just a regular straight edge. You can eyeball it if you want. These do not have to actually be perfect. We will be filling in a bit of that gap with the filler later. Not in this video. That's in last week's video. But the same way, we'll be using that filler would get used to filling all of these gaps like this. So once you got that at the 1.25 inches, nice smooth cuts through. Sometimes takes more than one cut. Now, you're going to want a bunch of those. Now, the depth of your stair from the front to the back is going to end up being just a little over 1/4 inch. So really all you need is a 1/2 inch long square stairs, but they get a little difficult to deal with it that short. So I usually cut mine about 3/4. So I'm just going to take that. They don't have to be particularly squared off on the back edge. The front edge you're going to want them square on. So what I'm going to do is just trim a few of these up, and then at 3/4 inch mark, I know, You can't really see this from here, but I'm super right-handed. That's where I gotta have the camera, and that's where I gotta be from. But we're just gonna make a bunch of little stairs, just like that, about 3/4 of an inch deep, 1.25 inches wide. Now I'm gonna make a bunch of those in just a minute. I'm gonna do that off of camera. You get the idea. Now for this next one though, this is the top one. For it, we're gonna want 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. So take that same piece and go to the 1.25 inch mark. Again, I'm using the little dots on my grid as my easy measurement. So I'm going across, I'm starting from this line and going 5 dots out for 1.25 inches. You're only gonna need one of those. You could make them all 1.25 inches deep if you want, but it uses a little more foam. And then all of those are just gonna go together like that. You can see the idea? All right, there's gonna be a bit of a jump here, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we will do these side pieces. Got all my stairs cut, got a big pile of them here. Not sure exactly how many it was gonna take. This happened to have been 16, but it can be different amounts depending on the height, which is what we're about to discuss next. So I've made a bunch of stairs. Move my little guy out of the way. We're gonna need to know how tall to make this. So we need to know the height to this top flat platform, which obviously is going to match the side of the house. So, gonna measure that, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's 3 3/8. So we're gonna make it 3 3/8 tall, and the length is gonna matter on the ratio for stairs. Now, I was in construction for a long time, so I know this off the top of my head. Rather than have you go look it up, just know that to American code, generally speaking, stairs are expected to be 37 degrees in height. That gives the proper tread width for your foot to go on and height of the stair, of the next stair, so that you don't trip on it, slip on it. So we're looking for a 37-degree angle right here. And it doesn't matter if you measure from the top and do it that way or from the bottom and do it that way, but you want a 37-degree incline. So set my trusty little compass here to, that's 40, 35, 37. And I have no idea if you can see that or not, but that is set to 37 degrees. Now this panel should be large enough that I can get both pieces out of it, one from this side and one from this side. I did take the liberty of squaring up these corners, so however you want to do that. 37 degrees, and I want to make sure that that 37 degrees matches up with the 1 1/4 inch I want that this top stair to be. So I will take some type of marking device, go 1 1/4 inch out. That's where I want to start from, and I want to come down 37 degrees from there. So I've got to keep this bottom edge even with that. Now this compass is a little small, so I'll show you how I do that. I take another straight edge and match it with that, but however you want to do it. So phew, flying stairs, flying stairs. Okay. You can see it's a bit of a delicate process with the weirdness I've got going on with my square, or my protractor, but just know that inside of that line is my 37-degree mark. So then I can take anything I need to get that straight line across there, however you want to do that. That can be a straight edge, a ruler, whatever you need to match that line up. So that's my line. Now, I believe this is taller, so I can actually get more than one. So what I'm going to do is take this and simply line it up to where it matches that line. And I know that that's going to be my height I cut off at. On this one, I already know it's 1.25 inches, but I'm just showing you. You can just do it like that. Now, cut that off. You want that to be aligned with this line so we get a nice level top. So, I want to make these two parallel. And nice smooth line there. Follow that black line there. And I have still managed to mess this up. What are you gonna do? So, 1.25 inches back from that corner is there. And I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Why I said a square or a speed square is super important on this. Okay, that is our side. Now, I can simply take it, line it up with our other one, and match everything. I already know the angle is correct over here. I'll just match it to that front edge, lay it down, and follow all of those lines. Close my pen, that's our sides done. In just a second I'll be back and I'll show you how to attach everything. As I've said before, I always like to have multiples to work with, so I'm making several here at a time. You're going to need 2 of your sides and your top piece to start with. Now this part's pretty simple, straightforward. I still did not get this thing square enough, I apologize. There we go. 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. And we want to attach this at the very top edge, lined up with that. You can use whatever you want. I happen to, as most of you know, prefer hot glue. I always put it on the low temp so I don't melt the foam. And tiny drop out of that. And your landing is in place. That's the very top piece. And all of your other stairs are going to build off of that and the front of the angle. So everything is going to be based on gluing to this piece and following this line. I'm going to try to show you what I'm talking about, but the angle is going to be a little weird. So, a bit of a line down here to get the glue going, and just a little bit right there to catch the first stair. And place that on. Keep those pressed together. You want as little of a gap as possible. Hot glue is not the greatest for that, but it is really quick, and the first stair's on. Now, once this is all said and done, these are probably not all going to be perfect, and we can trim all of that off at the end. I'll show you that. But for right now, there's your top step and your landing. So we'll just keep doing that the rest of the way down. When I've got all of this, I'll come back and show you how to put on the weighted floor. Alright, I've got all of the stairs on, all the way down. As you can see, not all of them are the same width across. You want to make sure you've got at least your 1.25 inches out that we were using as our basis. So that's going to be right here. And typically what I do is I just take a longer blade and come along that edge and just take off all of the excess. I just want it flat and to where that last stair is the right width. And as long as you follow that same line across and get that parallel, you're going to have a nice clean line for your stairs. Alright, moving on, let's get into how to attach the rest of the frame to it. Before you close it up, there's some things we're going to have to do. The last thing to go on is going to be the other side. So, we need to know where the back and the bottom are going to fit to. So what we do is we take the piece where it's going to go. We know the bottom edge is going to fit right here. It's going to be that width. So we need to put a piece across here that we can brace against it once we go to glue things on. So we want to take something the width of the bottom, in this case I'm actually using the bottom piece. We want to align it on the outside edge so that it comes out aligned that, so we know how to place the piece on the inside. So I'm going to take that, hold that in place, and what I'm going to do is run a small bead of glue right here. I do not want to hit that bottom. I don't want it glued in place. I simply want to take the brace piece that I'm going to glue it on with and attach that to the glue and make sure that that is sitting at the right depth. So I've got that glued in place, move my wall out of the place. This one's ready to go. I've put a top piece for the, where's my other stair? Back wall that's going in already in place, but I have not put a bottom piece. That bottom piece is going to go on the bottom once we get it cut, so give me just a moment on that. I need to make sure that I also have, I'm just going to line the bottom with the other stair. I need to put another brace inside here, and it really is quite simple when I'm not having to show it on camera. So make sure you don't have any excess on there. You don't want your wall stuck on yet, but make sure it's at the right depth. So that one is good to go. Now we've got all of this glued in place and we're ready to go. So we want to take the piece that will become our bottom, also 1.25 inches wide, but longer than the bottom of the stairs. And ooh, that's not 1.25 inches wide. I cut that wrong. That's why it always helps to go back and double check your work. So, you definitely want that 1.25 inches. Again, I make the mistake, so you don't have to. Okay, now it's 1.25 inches. So I want to measure how far back it's going to go. And to do that, I simply align it in there. Take my blade again, and come down that back wall, and cut it off. So that is our bottom piece. Now, before we go gluing that in, it needs a couple of things done. First, we're going to set some weights on it and glue them in place. Now, sometimes they like to wiggle around when the glue is going, so I just sort of dent them in. You don't really have to. This is just for me to stop them from sliding around when my clumsiness gets to it. And I just tend to fill them up with the glue so that it grabs on the inside. And then come around the outside so that it's well and truly held in place. So that's our bottom. Ready to go. Now we want to put on our other side. It's going to be pretty simple to put in here. We're going to run glue all down our stairs and simply align it with the top of the stairs so that it matches the other side. Now, if you have any weird little edges that don't quite match up, you could just straighten those out however you feel needs to make them look right. But I'm going to do that after I get the back wall on, so that just in case the back wall comes out, we know that we have to fill a gap. If the back wall lines up right, then I know that I can trim this off. So that's both sides. Time to put on the bottom. Now the bottom's going to glue to the second stair these rails. Now it's not going to want to fit right on in there, so you might have to flex the sides out just a little, but you want to do it kind of quick. Do it before all the glue hardens up. And then just press the stairs down onto that bottom edge, or that bottom piece, excuse me. Okay, we are almost entirely done. Now you can see I've got 4 sides around here, and that's going to allow the back to drop right in. So now we need to measure the back. Make sure it's going to fit. We already know it's going to fit on 3 sides. We just need to know where it's going to fit to drop into that groove there. So slide that a little bit to the side. Tiny mark. Do it to the other side. Tiny mark. And line those 2 marks up. Cut that off, and that is our back. While that cools off, go ahead and put my glue gun out of the way here. We got 2 things left to do. One, right here at the front where these little points are, those are going to be a little brittle. We're just going to go ahead and take those off. We're just going to follow the front stair and take that off. There you go. And then any place where it's standing proud or weird or doesn't match up, we're going to go ahead and trim those off. I already know this back edge is like that. So that's the back trimmed up, and this front's a little bit like that. So that's it, we're done. 2 sets of stairs, match up on the house. The rest of this would just be finishing it out just like I did on this. You see I put the plaster on it, or in this case the filler, the spackle, and then let that dry. You want to let that fully completely dry because it is water soluble until it dries. And then you want to go ahead and paint it and then put the stain on it however you want. As I said, this was a white plaster look I was going for that I then wanted dusty as if the desert sand had blown onto it. So that's most of it complete. Stick around after the bump. See you in just a sec. And there you have it, campaigners. Simple ways to make some stairs, pretty straightforward. And that's going to complement the house. So far we've made the yard, the house, the wall, and the stairs. Coming up in a couple of future builds, I'm going to have some desert plants. I'm also going to have a method where I make some fabric tents, and I'm going to use the same method for the tents to use for the doors to make curtains that hang across here so that there's a little protection that way. So curtains and tents, desert plants, both of those are coming up to go with this. Hope you've been liking what I've been bringing to you. If you have, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to hit the little bell so that it notifies you when those future builds are coming up. Check out the new Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links. And I'll see you next time. Until then, I'm your host, Cross. This is Campaign Terrain. And until then, I wish you luck in your campaign. Thanks for coming.